Greetings from New Zealand. My name is Sanjay Pradhan, and I'm honored to address this important conference, even if it is via video. As CEO of the Open Government Partnership, it was very important for me to reiterate our support for INAI, which is not only an essential part of the Mexican democratic system guaranteeing the right to know and privacy, but INAI is also an open government champion and key ally since OGP was only an idea. For this reason, we stand with INAI and civil society organizations to support their call to the Mexican Senate to urgently appoint the pending commissioners who are crucial for fulfilling INAI's legal mandate. Having said that, allow me to address the theme of this 5th National Open Government Summit, focused on how open government can help address social polarization in a context where some of the core democratic institutions and values are being challenged, not only in Mexico, but around the globe. Mexico is one of the founding governments that launched OGP in 2011. Since then, the partnership has grown to 75 national members, over 100 local members, including 13 Mexican states and municipalities, and thousands of civil society organizations. Over that time, government and civil society have co-created over 400 action plans with more than 5,000 reform commitments to open up government. 10 years of evidence show that the core OGP model works. So when government co-creates reforms with civil society, the reforms are more ambitious, the results are stronger, impacting people's lives. At the same time, our world has experienced a prolonged period of democratic backsliding while dealing with systemic challenges like climate change, conflict, inequality, and the global pandemic. Authoritarian and populist leaders have attempted to restrict space for civil society, spread disinformation online, and attack human rights. Corruption often underpins these efforts to undermine democratic freedoms and exacerbates the challenges that societies face. As Moises Naim explains in the book, The Revenge of Power, we are facing political leaders that come to power through reasonably democratic elections, but then try to dismantle democratic checks and balances to their executive power through the 3 Ps: populism, polarization, and post-truth. As such, they are called the 3P autocrats. Openness is exactly on the opposite side of the spectrum of the 3P autocrats. In open government, different ideas and political views are key elements for multi-stakeholder dialogue. There are no zero-sum games, but collective construction of hopeful alternatives. Good ideas come from everywhere, certainly not from one party or political group. This is what OGP brings to fight polarization, the promise of a different path to see the world, where people that think differently are not enemies, but can participate in an open dialogue to co-create solutions. This process not only produces better and more legitimate policies, but also translates in stronger trust between government and civil society. We are confident that co-creation is a strong antidote against distrust and polarization. Closing of civic space and polarization are emerging threats that some OGP members are already addressing through reforms. Let me give you some examples. In France, reformers work to define and understand disinformation and identify resources, tools, and techniques to fight it. Indonesia is working to tackle electoral disinformation by establishing a participatory monitoring mechanism involving civil society to suppress acts of disinformation by candidates and others in the general public. Canada is working to ensure that democracy works for all by actively fighting disinformation, safeguarding fair elections, fostering social inclusion, and trust towards public institutions while protecting civic space online and offline. This year, OGP will begin implementing its new strategy for the next 5 years. One of its goals is to make open government the centerpiece for how all levels and branches of government work. We will seek flexible ways to collaborate with other entities and public institutions, such as the judicial branch, the Congress, autonomous constitutional bodies, and the national anti-corruption system. Finally, let me assure you that OGP will always support OpenGov reformers and others fighting to protect civil liberties and democratic institutions. And we will put forward a constructive dialogue to co-create solutions, build bridges, and offer a concrete alternative to polarizing narratives. We stand by your side. Thank you very much and have a great OpenGov Summit. Gracias.